This podcast is brought to you by the Islamic Center and NYU. For more information, visit our website at www.icnyu.org.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Habibina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Today, I wanted to talk about something that isn't often talked about that much as it relates to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, this is the month, of course, of his birth. And so we're all in celebration mode, right? We're all, of course, just so excited about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted us this great gift in Nabi Allah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he granted us a gift by which we would have an example of what it meant to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to obey Allah. And then, subhanAllah, all the things, of course, that he saved us from, right? As it relates to, of course, sexism and ageism and colorism and racism and, you know, even helping us to understand it. He just completely changed our worldview, right? And gave us a method by which we connect to each other and a better method by which we connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I actually don't want to talk about any of that today. I actually wanted to talk about how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us how to relate to our own selves, right? How to relate to our own emotions. When we look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what's to me so wonderful about him, when Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, his wife, was asked what was wonderful about him, and she said everything. Everything about him was wonderful. And they said, well, you know, she said, didn't you know that he was the walking Quran? Right, like, meaning everything inside the Quran, he was that. He was the embodiment of that. And so it makes me sometimes so, so overwhelmed that he could be the walking Quran, and yet there isn't anything about his life in terms of that's missing from the human experience. Meaning that, yes, he is, he is Nabi Allah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's Sayyidina Muhammad. He's the leader of all the prophets. SubhanAllah, his name is written on the arsh of Allah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His name is written, SubhanAllah, on the eyes of the angels. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His name is written, SubhanAllah, on the doors of Jannah. SubhanAllah. His name, the Yawm al-Qiyamah will not start, right? Except when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he's like, basically when he appears, when he's ready, subhanAllah, his shifa is ready, then it's going to start, subhanAllah, even the day of judgment. And yet, someone who could be khuluqul adi, the best of creation, someone who could be the walking Quran, could also be a husband, a father, right? A friend, someone who could also experience all the highest levels of contentment, and yet experience the one thing I want us to talk about today. You can also experience grief. That the best of creation, could experience grief. And no one could say, would someone say, well, he experienced grief, does that mean that he's deficient in his iman? Or iyadu billah min that? No one would say he's deficient in his iman. Would someone say that he's disconnected from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he's experiencing grief? No one would say that about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even looking at, subhanAllah, how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his greatness, is that even he taught us how to deal with our grief. He was stressed. He got stressed, right? His family was stressing him out. You're talking about toxic relationships in his family. Who has more toxic relationship than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his family? Every day, there's one man who, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is actually when he's born, he's so excited, right? He frees a slave, right? He's like, I'm so excited. Go, money, whatever you're gonna earn me, go help him be born, right? He frees Thuwayba. Thuwayba goes to the side of Amna, and she helps deliver the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Which is a whole nother matter we could discuss in terms of the greatness of that moment. But that's a whole nother thing. So this same one, though, who's so excited, who's announcing, who's going to the Kaaba, right? Today my nephew is going to be born. Today my nephew is born. Is the same one who's plotting every day. How are we going to kill him? How are we going to assassinate him? How are we going to get rid of him? Either we got to shut him up. Either we shut him up one or two ways. Either we shut him up that he stops speaking, or we shut him up by putting him in the grave. Either one, I don't care. His own uncle. Right? This is his own uncle, and of course, when you don't have a father, when your father has passed away, or your father is missing, or whatever it is, when you don't have that relationship, you're looking to your uncles, right? To be that one who's gonna stand with you. And yet, you got an uncle who's like, I'm plotting with a whole clan of people for how to eliminate you. Like, that's how much I hate you. I hate when I see you coming, they literally are biting their fingers for how much they hate. The insults, the constant verbal torture, the constant emotional torture, right? Because you don't believe his argument. But this is from his own family. Then can you imagine the people that you grew up with who used to call you good names, who used to say you're so trustworthy, you're so excellent, you're our favorite son, now turn completely against him. Right? The more religious he became, the more they turned against him. This became something like, how? Most of us would think, if the more closer I'm getting to Allah, wouldn't that make it easier with my family? Not always. Sometimes the more religious you become, the more problematic it can become with your family. This is stressful, especially at a time when in his life there's so many changes, right? There's so many changes. He's experiencing so many internal changes. So many things are different inside of him. He's having so many experiences that he can't necessarily explain it, not just to explain it to anyone else. He can't sometimes explain it to himself. I don't know what's happening. And then he experiences a spiritual moment where he sees the angel Jibreel alayhi salam. And I don't know about you, but I can't imagine. You ever felt like somebody gave you like a really great hug, and it's just like you could just melt inside of, like, the hug is so embracing, so warm, so comforting, so protecting. You're just like, this is just so great. And then they disappear from your life. This is like times a million what it must have felt for the Prophet ﷺ to be embraced by Jibreel. That Jibreel ﷺ embraces the Prophet ﷺ. He embraces him so tight, it's like far beyond a bear hug. And initially when we describe it, it feels like his ribs are being collapsed on each other. It sounds terrible. But when it's over, he's searching for him. When it's over, he's like, when will he come back? When will he come back? And as weighty and heavy as those words were, to the point that they would make him sweat and go into fits, when it was over, when will it come back? When will that spiritual state come back? SubhanAllah. There comes a time in the life of the Prophet ﷺ when all of that is the only comfort. And it's not just any comfort, but the best comfort that anyone could, SubhanAllah, experience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking to you, giving you revelation, giving you comfort, giving you guidance, giving you protection, even with the angels, and all of a sudden it's missing. It's gone. And the love of your life, the one who, when you had nothing, they stood by you. When you're like, I've got no money, I'm not even in any form of like residency or something like that. Like, I don't necessarily have some great future. But like at the moment that the Prophet ﷺ that is, marries Khadija, it's not like he's got, some inheritance, great kind. He's got no money, he's got no father. It's not like, he's got a promise of something, like he's got a great amount of land that he's, turning over, that's gonna be, no. When she marries the Prophet ﷺ, it doesn't, it's kind of like, this might be as good as it gets. In terms of like him being a merchant, working for me, that might be it. And so her love for him is like, I don't love you for what you have. I don't love for you for what you could give me. I love you for who you are. Right? And she loves him purely. And they have like this beautiful relationship. Right? He says about her, she never spoke one negative word to me. She never said anything negative to me. Their closeness of their conversation, she was his closest confidant. And literally he described, she was my mother, she was my wife, she was my sister, she was everything to me. And now, when everyone is against me, no, she's gone from my life. Now I don't have her. That person that I go to talk to, I don't have her. The one who accepted me when I had nothing, I don't have her. The one who would comfort me, the one who, when I would have these spiritual experiences, I would literally run and go to her and hide himself in her lap. And she would embrace him. God. At the moment, the Prophet ﷺ felt like, who am I going to run to now? And Jibreel, the one who would at least come and speak to me and give me revelation from Allah, he's also not here. Who's going to comfort me? When I'm being boycotted against, these people are, half of my community, they have to leave because of the trouble that I'm causing. It's not just me, but anyone associated with me is also getting tortured. People are getting killed. And people are, being beaten. People are being tortured in every kind of way. And yet there's just no one on this earth that I can run to and he's going to give me that comfort. SubhanAllah. And then the one relative he has, the one uncle that he does have that's on his side, he also passes away. So now there's really a feeling of on this earth. And he's making dua. At this time, Allah is not sending any revelation. So that feeling, sometimes we feel like I'm praying, but I don't know if I'm getting answered. I don't know if Allah is listening to me. Like I'm praying, but I'm not seeing any change. As I'm praying, things are getting worse. The more I pray, the more people are dropping dead. The more I pray, the hardship increases. Inside of this moment, I feel like the Prophet ﷺ gives us the greatest gift. He gives us the gift of being able to grieve. To be able to be human in the most times that we actually need to be human. To say, I'm experiencing loss at high levels. My life has completely changed. And Allah, please answer me. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Then he said, you're not deficient. Because you're stressed, because you're sad, you're not deficient. Keep running to Allah. Don't give up. But the fact that He allowed us the gift of being human, the gift of sadness, the gift of grief, is proof of, for me, how magnificent He was. It's not, subhanAllah, everyone can say, when you are, my iman should make me always happy. I should always be like, every time I see her, wow, strong. Like, this person has a smile on their face. They're always strong. They're always doing this. And in this moment, the Prophet said, I'm sad. I'm sad. Right? I'm sad. That's what of God. That's sad. This, subhanAllah, when I think about the Prophet in his moments of grief, I say, alhamdulillah, that He liberated us from the prison of always having, of always saying, I'm at the highest positive level. Right? When someone says, how are you doing? Like, I'm fine, alhamdulillah. I'm fine, alhamdulillah. I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Always, walillahi alhamd. Praise is always due to Allah subhanahu. That's never the question. But how are you? How's your heart? How's your soul? How's your family? How are you doing with that? How are you handling the pressure? How are you holding up? How are you meeting each challenge? Are you hiding behind alhamdulillah? Or you're saying, alhamdulillah, I'm struggling right now in my faith. Not because I doubt Allah. No. Not because I'm not getting the kind of response that I need in order to feel strong. My closest companions have left me either for a time or forever, or for a time or for the rest of this dunya. Or maybe, subhanAllah, just, it's a lot of pressure. I'm under a lot of stress. My family should be a place of refuge, but they're the most toxic people I know. Guess what? It's okay. It's okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proved to us so much that it's okay. He said, Sayyidil Mursaleen. The best of creation experience everything that we were experiencing everyday life. And it's okay. It's okay. What I love about the season of the fall, it's my favorite season, right? It's my favorite season. Because the leaves are changing, right? And we know that they're preparing for a type of death. Like if they go from yellow, so, they go from red, which is like this really pretty, like it's a special type of red. It's not like this bright red. It's not like the most vibrant red. It's like a different type of red. Like a calming, red. And then it goes to like that burnt orange color, and that yellow, but the yellow isn't a pure yellow. It's not like yellow like the sun you on a kid's picture, right? It's not that type of yellow. It's like has all these speckles on it, right? It's dying. It's changing. And then it becomes brown, and now it's brown. Right? And the leaves start to fall, and the trees take on a different beauty. A different beauty. That someone buried deep, deep inside, there'll be life again. There'll be a different type of germination. But now, just appreciate what it is. There's value in the darkness. There's value in the struggle. There's greatness in the grief. There's what's happening. There's beauty in the season of change. There's beauty in the season of change. Let it be a time where you keep running to Allah, no matter what. Cry your eyes out to Allah if you need to. Sit and have no answers. Be comfortable in ambiguity. When will I feel better? Well, Allahu A'lam. When will it get better? Well, Allahu A'lam. When will spring come? Whenever this season is over, well, Allahu A'lam. Maybe February, maybe March, who knows? It might smell till April. Well, Allahu A'lam. There's a different type of tawakkul. And it's not the kind of tawakkul where you're like, Ya Allah, you got my back, and I know. It's a kind of tawakkul that's like, I got nothing. I got nothing but this sadness I'm sitting here with, and this sorrow, and this grief. And guess what? I don't have any answers to it. I don't have an answer for that right now. There is beauty in I don't know. Why? Because it means you have surrendered yourself to Allah. You have surrendered. Sometimes in our strongest moments, we forget who's really in control. Sometimes in our strongest moment, we forget how much we need Allah. By the way, there's other piece I wanted to mention to you. There's this thing where sometimes we've been taught that your greatest moment of realizing your faith is in silence, right? When you're by yourself, that should be where you draw your faith. That should be where you get your moments. Sometimes. But in those moments, there's also beauty in the Jama'ah. There's beauty that sometimes you can, when you're feeling sad, sometimes it's okay to sit with a person. One of my greatest friends is like one of my closest friends. What I love about my relationship with her is sometimes we could talk about, we could talk non-talk, sometimes I could say absolutely nothing. And we're still, it's good. We could be in each other's, we're just in this general area together in the house. And I'm comforted by her presence, and she's comforted by mine. We're not saying anything. And that's okay. Alhamdulillah wa shukrina. Even the Prophet ﷺ, they had Abu Bakr. There were people who could be with him, and it was benefiting him. Don't think that you gotta figure that I gotta be all alone and figure out all the stress by myself, and I gotta be all alone, and I just gotta pray it out all by myself. No, it's okay also if you have someone near. This is the beauty of sabr. This is the beauty of sometimes, I don't know, somebody else's smile might be the one you wear that day. Sometimes somebody else just being present, their hand on your shoulder, they're saying, hey, I'm making dua for you. Or just that I see you in your sadness. It's okay. It's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a blanket. You want to lay down? I'll give you a blanket. Be that friend, and it's okay to also have that friend. It doesn't make you deficient. It makes you human. It's also conditional. So in these moments of toughness, tough times, stress, change, a lot of people experience seasonal affective disorder as things start to change. They also, go into a cocoon of sorts. It's okay to let the light of friendship, the light of good suhbah in now and then. Balance between your moments of needing to be by yourself with Allah Azza wa Jalla, and also the need to be with people, so that sadness doesn't become depression. So it doesn't become chronic. There are two types. There's sadness that affects you. Cry. Even Yaqub alayhi salam, one of the greatest prophets, he cried from loss. It's okay. He cried until a coating came over his eyes from the sadness. But he never gave up on hope of Allah. And this is also with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that even when Allah's not answering him or giving him revelation, he still didn't give up hope in Allah. He doesn't allow his sadness to deteriorate his soul. That's where the line is. Be sad, grieve, but be careful of allowing it to deteriorate your soul. That part. Your heart can be broken. Your heart can be broken. It's a perfect time to discover all of its contents. It's like my heart is completely broken. And inside I found, wow, over here I found some distrust I have. I discovered that. And over here I found, I had, some shreds of forgiveness. And over here I found, where I'm I have some ego, or over here I found, or whatever it is. Over here I found some serious attachment. Over here, like, wow, my heart is broken, and now I can see all of its contents. It's okay. It's okay. And even when you think Allah is not answering, don't stop talking. This is the beauty of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he wasn't just a walking Quran, but he was fully human. And this is the gift that he gave to us. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.
If you would like to listen to more, please donate to www.icnyu.org/donate. For more of our virtual programs, go to www.icnyu.org/classes. If you have any questions, email us at info@icnyu.org.